Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the witnesses for joining us this morning/afternoon. First, I'm going to make a shameless plug. The Modernization Subcommittee will also be holding some AI hearings in the near future, and this seems to be a very interesting topic because I don't often see this room packed full of visitors. So feel free to join the subcommittee when we post that particular hearing. We've seen AI in the legislative branch assist library patrons with optical character recognition, building LMM models to allow experimentation and tests based on high-quality government data or reports, and work to upskill legislative branch staff to become familiar with generative AI technology. The first question I have, in the 2023 year-end report on the federal judiciary, Chief Justice Roberts cautioned the judicial branch that, quote, any use of AI requires caution and humility. And I think we're here today in that spirit to acknowledge the first steps of the legislative branch must be cautious, humble, thoughtful, and forward-looking. If I can start, Mr. Halpern, the GPO completed a formal AI directive and that was issued internally in October, correct? Can you explain the directive and the impact it's had on GPO operations over the last few months?
Sure. Well, we're in the nascent stages of implementing that directive, and largely the directive incorporated the NIST framework into our own decision-making process. And as I mentioned, our AI governance committee, established by that directive, held its inaugural meeting yesterday. We actually authorized 3 pilot programs to move forward using AI technologies. One, was a simple intranet chatbot for search. Another is a module for our contract lifecycle management system to test that, to see if that can assist our acquisitions process. And then also looking at tools to assist our public information search. As I said, the directive is to provide that framework for our decisions as we look at these technologies and incorporate them into GPO's operations. And really, our first stage is to do no harm, so to test things thoroughly before they move into production.
Great, thank you. Mr. Clocker, you talked earlier about the need for potentially staff in reviewing and evaluating vendors, and I think it's an important point. Certainly, we want to make sure that there's a thorough vetting of any applications that are being put forward to use by House offices, but I also think we have to think through the speed at which we do that, because technology is changing at a very rapid pace, and if we're taking 6 months or a year to actually vet and approve these types of applications, it's putting us at, I think, at a competitive disadvantage to be able to actually utilize those programs. Large language models are being weaponized. In December, VentureBeat published an article about LMM attacks against members of the UK Parliament. In this instance, hackers used them to personalize emails and kept sending new emails in rapid succession until they got through. Mr. Clocker, is there anything like this happening in the House today?
I don't think we've seen that specific example. We're certainly concerned about it. We've seen increased speed and sophistication of cyber attacks. Our adversaries and those who want to harm the House, whether politically motivated or they're just fraudulent fraudsters, these tools are going to be widely available, and they're going to use it to generate emails that look like constituent letters, social media posts that looks like they're coming from constituents, and so we're going to have to figure out how to get in front of that.
Absolutely. Has the CAO actually identified any caseworker-related AI use cases?
We have. I think we're starting with one of the modernization subcommittee priorities, which was to anonymize and aggregate casework information. And we're not using AI in that project right now. We're being very cautious. There is sensitivity. It's anonymized data, but there is still sensitivity about that data. We want to prove that project as we roll it out with the additional pilot participants. I do think once that data set gets large enough, there's definitely opportunities to use AI. Not this year, maybe next year.
Perfect. Thank you for those answers, and Mr. Chairman, I yield.